Hi and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Microsoft Teams and a quick tutorial on how to use it. If you do find this video useful, please hit that like button and subscribe. If you hit the bell notification, you'll also get notified of all the future videos that we do over here at That Office Guy. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to need to do is open up our Microsoft Teams application from our desktop. Once this loads up, you'll be presented with a screen not too dissimilar to this one here. There are three main parts to this particular screen. On the far left, you have a main navigation pane. Then you have a sub menu, and then over here, which takes up the majority of the screen, is your portal window, and this part basically lets you link into various other parts of Microsoft Teams or external applications like PowerPoint, Excel, Power BI, Planner, and so forth. So to start with, we're going to look at the main navigation pane on the left-hand side. The first menu that we have here is Activity. Within the Activity, you can get a view of the latest things that are happening that actually relate to yourself. And that comes under the My Activity. Now there's a little drop down here that then lets you select a feed, which then shows you various other things that are going on within Microsoft Teams and the wider team as a whole. And specifically if anything relates to yourself. In the next menu we have a chat function, and here you would have all of your instant messaging. So any messages that you have to a specific team or a one-on-one conversation, it would appear in this section here. And if you have obviously the Microsoft Teams application for your mobile phone, be that your iPhone or Android device, then obviously this is all synchronized because it's within the cloud. So any conversations that you're having out and about on your phone will also appear on your desktop application. And that will all appear within here. You can also have conversations with bots as well. So if you wanted to ask a question to a specific like AI, you could do that and get an answer back as well, depending on which ones have been set up by the admins of your organization. So obviously you have various different chats just on this side, and then your main conversations within the portal here. Now for this particular chat, for the Flowbot, I have the chat itself, the flows that I have created, which appear in here. Give it a moment to connect to the 365 service, and you see all the flows that I have created there. We also have approvals, so if you set up a flow that has an approval, you can get access to that here. So received approvals, sent approvals, and a history of approvals as well. You can obviously get a little bit more information about the Flowbot from there. And we'll probably talk more about that as we progress down this particular navigation pane. So the next one on the list is our Teams. Now this is where the majority of the work within Microsoft Teams would actually happen. And so in here you have various sub options. You can obviously create new teams, join existing teams, or utilize the information that's already here if you're already part of a team. Now, I have pinned various channels up to the top, and so if I just minimize that briefly, and I'll talk about that in a moment, your teams would appear in a little mini drop down like this one here, right? So we have hidden teams, if you've hidden any, your main teams, and any pinned teams that you, or channels that you've pinned to the top of the list. So within your teams, we just drop that down. You can see I am a member of 3 different teams here. Now, inside each of these teams, you get what they call channels. And these channels can have a whole new portal window. And from that portal window, you can have various tabs that run across the top. So, for example, if I go to my supply chain team, choose that drop down and just choose the general channel, I can see that I have a posts tab at the top, which is the screen that we're currently in here. And this post basically relates to any communications that you would like to have with the team, or the supply chain team, right? So anyone who's a member of that team can see this post section. So if there's a communication around supply chain, this is where I would put it, and everybody could have visibility on that. And what they can also do is you can tag people in that conversation. So you can @mention, right? So you can do an @mention, but you could also comment and reply to things, right? So I could reply to this, and I could type some text into there, and you can have a conversation and engagement and increase all of that within the team itself. Now, the files section, because Microsoft Teams is directly linked into SharePoint, a SharePoint site is created by default for the team itself. And what that basically means is you have a place to store your files in the cloud. And those files are only accessible to the team or the members of the team itself, right? So we can add new, we can upload, and the files that you put into here or into SharePoint basically are live documents. You don't have to save them. You don't have to have a save of a copy of a copy of a copy and worry about version control. Multiple people can edit these documents all at the same time, and you can see edits live across different members of the team. So it's a really powerful function to be using files within SharePoint, and it's great that you actually have this functionality directly within Teams. I do wish that more people would utilize it. The wiki, it basically lets you create documentation, if you will, like a Wikipedia, if you will, for your team. So you can actually put links in directly, a bit of communication around what the team's functions are and so forth. Now, if you've done a video chat, and we'll talk about that in a moment, you would automatically get a meeting notes if you've taken notes in the video chat. And that would appear in a tab at the top here. And this is like a live audit trail of all of the notes that you would take in any meeting within this team. So that's a really powerful function as well. And what I've done here is I've also added a direct link into Microsoft Planner. So I can click this and it will load up the plan that I have created for Microsoft Teams and the supply chain team. So there is a video, and I'll add that just at the top now, that basically shows you how to integrate a Microsoft plan from Planner into Microsoft Teams, but also take all of the tasks that you create within that plan and integrate them into Microsoft Outlook. So another really powerful function within Microsoft Teams. So do check out that video. It's about 25 minutes, but you will learn an awful lot about how Microsoft Planner works and how to integrate that with various other parts of the 365 apps. Right, so the next part to look at outside of the Teams is your calendar. So this is a direct link to your Outlook calendar. So it's pulling in all of the information that you currently have in Outlook and dumping it into here. And if you're in Outlook, you'll also have noticed within the calendar of Outlook that you can add Teams meetings. And from here, you can obviously add new meetings as well. Now, there is a big shift away from Outlook kind of appointments and more into team meetings and trying to be more collaborative in the way we work. So from here we have a new meeting which we can set up. We can obviously double click like you would normally into a specific time slot that you might want to create a meeting. And from here we can actually invite an entire team with one click, or invite individual people into a specific meeting. So if we were having a meeting on Thursday for the entire supply chain team, I would just click supply chain general, and everyone who's a member of that general supply chain team will be invited into this meeting. So I'll just call this a test meeting, and actually what I'll do is I'll make this for today at 12:30, so I can join that in a moment. We can obviously set that as a repeat or not repeat. We can add locations and various other pieces of text. Now, if there is anyone that we'd like to invite that's not a member of that team, you can add them here, which is an optional part of the setting up of the meeting. But I'll just leave it as the supply chain general team at the moment. I'll send that out. He says, send. Yep. So that's now sending, and it's just here. Now, you'd have to leave this screen and come back into it. For some reason, it takes a little bit of time to actually synchronize between your Outlook and your your Microsoft Teams calendar. So give it a moment. Let me just get back on that. And we can now see that the meeting has gone into the calendar. Hopefully that little bit of lag will get corrected in some future updates. But from here, we can actually just join that meeting, and that takes us straight into a video chat or a voice chat. So from here, you can see that we have the microphone enabled. Now I haven't got a webcam attached, so I can't do a video conference on this one, but I can just do the audio. We can obviously select the various different speakers and audio devices that we want to be using, and then we can just join that meeting. So from here, we have the ability to invite additional people. So we can go to show participants off this control bar, and we can invite additional people if we wanted. From here, we have various other options here, so we can control various parts of the meeting. So from here was what I was talking about, those meeting notes. If we click on show meeting notes, we can start taking notes from here. Wait for it to load, and yeah, we'll just call it notes as a title, and then we'll add a section. Actually, we can just type into here, so notes here. We can add multiple sections like this. We'll call it notes, and then here, so up this top section here, we can choose the ellipsis, fall down, and we can insert tables directly into the notes as well, and so forth, and we can just close it. It's automatically saved. We don't have to worry about that too much. We can also from here share our desktop. For example, we can do this, and obviously that's my Outlook notification to say that I just set up a meeting, and it's 10 minutes overdue, so I'll just dismiss that. From here we have, basically we're sharing our desktop, and there's various things that we can do from this. We can obviously give presentations. We can also, from the top here, actually give control of our computer over to someone else. So if you're having IT related issues, you can set up a Teams meeting with someone in your organization who works in IT, give them control, and they can dial straight into your computer and fix whatever the issue may be, and so forth here. So I'm just going to close that one down. We have the ability to show the conversations. So the conversations are the posts within that team that we're actually having this meeting in. So again, we can have add more posts into that conversation, or read other people posting in there during our meeting as well. And we can just hang up that conversation, that video chat as well from there. Now, when you close out, you straight away you're taken into your teams, straight down to the supply chain team general, because that's where the meeting was taking place. It has created us a meeting summary just here, and actually put it into our posts, so we can see that a meeting took place, how long that meeting was for, how was the quality, and we can rate it and so forth. We also have a link into the notes. Now, there is another functionality in the video chat that you actually physically record it, and that video recording gets sent up into Microsoft Stream, and that would also appear here as well. So you'd have a bit of an audit trail for how that meeting went. If we click into meeting notes, we get all the additional notes that were in those meetings, right? So this is the first meeting that we had. This is the one that we just had, and we can see obviously a bit of an audit trail going through of the various meetings that happen, and all the notes that were taken during that meeting. Likewise, if you have Microsoft Stream, we can see the videos and actually just recall the video and watch that back as well. Okay, so that's the calendar, and that's kind of how you work with adding in or creating meetings. Obviously, you can set up meetings from Outlook for Microsoft Teams, and I talk more about that in a different video, and I'll add another card into this video here, so you can click over to that one if that's of interest to you. The next section is calls. So just like video chats and video conferences, you can do voice calls just like you would any other voice over internet protocol. So if you have, again, the mobile app on your iPhone, Android device or whatever, then you could just make regular calls using the Teams app directly to your other colleagues without the need of them having to give you their personal mobile numbers, anything like that. It works straight over the internet, so 4G or Wi-Fi, and it basically just means anyone that is within your contact list, your work email addresses, basically, you can call. So anyone within your organization who has an email address, you can pretty much call them directly from Microsoft Teams, which is really powerful stuff. So from this section here, obviously you can do it from your computer, from your mobile phone, and obviously you have all the contacts, you have the history, you also have voicemails and whatnot from there. Now, files also get added. So from here, you have your recent files, you have any Microsoft Teams files, any files that you've downloaded, and also you have access to your cloud storage directly from the file section. Now, I've skipped over Planner and Flow because these are optional. You can add these in into your navigation bar here. They're not there by default. But in order to add more apps in, all you do is you hit the ellipsis here, and you can find the apps and just drag and drop them. So, for example, if I wanted to put the Microsoft Forms app into Microsoft Teams, all I do is I'd just drag it and drop it. Right, so now I have Planner, Forms, and Flow all directly within there. And like I said before, if we record the video chat meetings and you wanted to recall the videos, they go to Microsoft Stream. So we can just drag Stream, drop that in there, and straight away now we have access to all of the videos that we've recorded whilst we've been having our video chats. If you like OneNote, throw OneNote in there. If you're using shifts, throw shifts in. And it's really powerful stuff. So I am going to remove shifts because I'm not using it. Let me just unpin shifts. Make sure that I have flow. Okay, so there is a limitation of how many things you can add in here. And when I added shifts in, it actually knocked out my flow, but I need flow, so I'm going to keep that like that. Okay, so that's kind of a very quick overview, guys, of Microsoft Teams. And fundamentally, there's a lot that you can do with it. You kind of just need to understand how the navigation works and then start to dive into some of the functionality. So if there's anything specific that you guys really wanted to know, drop it into the comment section below. And what I'll do is I will dedicate an entire video to those specific subjects, because there's an awful lot to kind of go over. Like I could talk quite a long time about how Flow works, or how Forms work, which is actually a really simplistic app, but there's a lot that you can do it if you combine Flows, Microsoft Flow or Power Automate with Forms, right? So for me personally, I set up an entire holiday approval system from Forms and Microsoft Flow. Likewise, Planner, the way that it integrates into your Teams here, there's so much to talk about. So I'm not going to dive into it all right now, but if there is something specific that you wanted to know, drop a comment down there and I will get to it. So hopefully you guys found this useful as a general quick tutorial for Microsoft Teams. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe. If you hit the bell, you'll get notified of any future videos that I'll be putting out in the near future.